The Arizona Cardinals are now 0-2 in the preseason. And yes, it's the preseason, but there is a few things that I want to dive into, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's go and dive right into the aftermath of the Arizona Cardinals versus the Indianapolis Colts. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we cover everything Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces. Definitely subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free.
It's pretty self-explanatory. We didn't mode of play. One of our modes of play is our brain, and we didn't use it tonight. Falls strictly on me. I thought we were ready to play physically. Violence was on display, good effort, finish, but I just told them we're not going to beat anybody making those kind of mistakes. It's too hard to win in this league, and you can't self-destruct, and we did on all three phases.
All right, but let's go and dive right into it. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the aftermath of the Cardinals falling to the Colts and now falling to 0-2 in the preseason. And like I said in the intro, yes, it's the preseason. It's not a big deal, right? 2 or 3 weeks, down the road, we're not going to be worrying about it, right? What the preseason is made for is for these rookies as well as second year players and people that are fringe bubble players to hopefully make some plays and impress these coaches, right? So as of right now, do I feel like the Cardinals regressed from game 1 to game 2? There's definitely some things that I'm a little worried about. I'm not going to lie, and we're going to be diving into that a little later on in the video. But there's definitely some things that I'm actually impressed with, right? Now, I think the Cardinals, on the defensive side of the ball, I feel like I'm a little bit more impressed on the defense than I am on the offense. And let's talk about that first, right? Let's talk about the players that I'm actually impressed with. Let's first start off here with Dadrion Taylor-Demerson. Ended up having a very crucial interception. Now, I'm going to try to paint this picture as best as I possibly can, right? We got Jason Beam rolling out to the right and actually having a very, very nice pass to one of his wide receivers, and Taylor-Demerson just jumps in front of it just based off of instincts and his speed, and the rest is history, right? He ended up putting his feet in bounds, and it was a nice interception, and it was just a big, crucial momentum swing for the Cardinals defense to put the offense back on the field, and obviously getting a touchdown here from Clayton Tune. So just a really, really good momentum swing for the Cardinals. Now, there was another big defensive play that they ended up having, right? I believe it was Keitrell Clark that actually forced a fumble and Dante Stills ended up recovering. That's what I'm saying here, right? I'm a little bit more impressed with the defense because they put us in crucial momentum swinging type of plays, right? That this game should have been in the Cardinals' hands, right? But the offense really couldn't get going, whether it was Clayton Tune under pressure or, Desmond Ridder, kind of having a showing. Now, in this game, I got what I wanted, right? On week 1, we saw Clayton Tune in the second half and Desmond Ridder in the first half, right? In this game, I got what I wanted. I got Clayton Tune in the first half and then Desmond Ridder in the second. Now, with what we've seen from Clayton Tune, I still do think that he outperformed Desmond Ridder, right? Now, he didn't have the best of games. He struggled. Did he look a little kind of spooked, a little scared, right? A little nerve-wracking, in the pocket? Yes, he did, but he definitely did make some plays when his name was called. So we got to give him props to, when he makes those plays. Now, Dadrion Taylor-Demerson, crucial play. Keitrell Clark, crucial play. But some players also on the defensive, side of the ball that I really did like. Xavier Thomas, right? Another rookie for the 2024 Arizona Cardinals that is seeming to hopefully finding a role in this defense for years to come. Now, I don't think it's going to be this year, but just it's awesome to see these young guys get better and better week in and week out, right? Now, there was a couple things that you're like, oh man, I wish you did this, or I wish you took this angle, but at the end of the day, he got himself a sack, right? And it's amazing. It's really, really cool to see it. Now, LJ Collier ended up getting a sack as well. There's a bubble fringe player that I thought he was probably going to get cut. I think he actually had a really good game in this game, and that's Cameron Thomas. Ended up tallying 2 sacks, so definitely kudos to him. I think he's definitely had a fantastic game versus the Colts. Now, one last player I want to talk about on the defensive side of the ball is going to be Darren Hall. Now, the cornerback situation, I don't know how that's going to shake out. I really do like what I've seen from him and just kind of his instincts and just how quick he makes these moves. I like what I've seen from him. It's just I don't know if there's going to be any room for a Darren Hall, just being and how crowded our cornerback room is right now. But I do like what I've seen from him in this game. Now let's move on over to the offensive side of the ball. I literally just have two people. I'm not going to lie to you. Maybe three, right? If I want to be, I guess, generous. Let's first start off with Trey Benson. I think Trey Benson had a better game this game in week 2 versus week 1. Now, I want to attribute that to Clayton Tune, because whenever Clayton Tune's on the field, I feel like this offense just runs better, right? It's more smoother. It feels like it's a little bit more, I don't know, chemistry's down a little bit more. So Trey Benson benefited from that. He had 9 carries, 43 yards, averaged about 4.8 yards, 8 carry. Now, he should have had more yards than that, but there was a big crucial run that he had that ended up coming back because of a penalty, right? And we're going to talk about penalties a little later on as well. So Trey Benson, really, really happy for him. I think he did a fantastic job. Amari DeMarcado, we saw a lot of him, right? We had 10 carries, 24 yards, average about 2.4 yards, 8 carry. So I'm actually a little interested to find out who's going to be this number 2 running back. Right now, it kind of seems to be Trey Benson or Amari DeMarcado. I'm surprised we've seen him, but the moment he got healthy, we're now starting to see him here in preseason. So I'm excited to see how that's going to shake out. Those are going to be my top 2. Actually, Trey Benson and Clayton Tune. I'm throwing Amari DeMarcado in there as well, just because of the production that he has. Let me just throw another guy out there, right? Michael Carter. We haven't seen him very, very much, but when he's got the opportunity, this guy's making plays. Please, 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 Michael Carter, find a way to make it to this roster. I'm excited to see what you can do. Let's move on over to special teams real quick. I like what the special teams has done. Matt Prater, 2 for 2. Good job. I like the kick return guys that we have going for us. We ended up seeing Xavier Weaver have a very good return, as well as DJ Dallas as well. So who's going to win that kick returning role? Now, like I mentioned before, if you have more skills, if you're bringing more things to the table, your ability to make this 53-man roster is a lot better than making it in as just a running back or just a wide receiver, right? We got 2 guys that are playmakers that has had flashy skills in this preseason so far. So definitely shout out here to the special teams. Let's talk about the things that worry me, right? Now, the things that worry me, Clayton Tune, I think he had a respectable game, right? I think what's attributed to him not being very comfortable is that this darn offensive line that we have in second string and third string, short of the first 5 guys that we have, right? The top 5 guys, we don't really know what they're going to be. I think we have a lot of hope and a lot of, prayers that they can stay upright, and they're really, really good 5 pieces that we have in the offensive line starters, right? But the second stringers and the third stringers that we're depending on right now, there's a lot of struggles, and it all kind of comes down to our rookies, right? Christian Jones was a late round pick for the Cardinals. This man had 3 or 4 back-to-back holding calls on him. This man was struggling. He's struggling. There's no way that the Cardinals were going to convert a 1st and 33, 1st and 35, right? It was just, it's impossible. It's not happening, right? The Cardinals seem to be in a groove, and then we got these boneheaded penalties that kept moving us back and back and back. Now, it wasn't just Christian Jones. There was also Isaiah Adams as well, which is a 3rd round pick for the Cardinals that they were speaking very, very highly of, about being a very, very good guard, and he's been struggling in week 1 as well as week 2. So we're not expecting these 2 young men to be starters for the Cardinals, right? Not at all. But in case there is an injury, I'm a little concerned with the depth that we have in this offensive line. Now, can they potentially be right tackle of the future, a left guard or a right guard of the future, right? And I'm talking about Isaiah Adams and Christian Jones. Yeah, they potentially can, right? But they still got a lot of development to do, right? They still got a lot of strength to be had, a lot more technique to redefine their ways of protecting the QB, because I promise you, man, these quarterbacks are not having a lot of time to survey the field, right? And we're not asking for 5, 6, 7 seconds, but we're asking for 3 seconds, maybe even 4 seconds for them to survey and make the decisions that they can. And there's been a big time struggle when it comes down to that offensive line, especially those 2 rookies that we have. So I just hope there's no crazy injuries. That's all I'm hoping. Really, really worried about the depth that we have in the O-line for sure. Now, a couple other things that I want to mention is that in this game, well, let's take it back. Last week, I was praising this Arizona Cardinal defense for wrapping up tackles as well as just constant pressure, right? And stopping the run. I feel like last game, week 1 versus the Saints, the Cardinals checked a lot of boxes on the defensive side of the ball. In this game, and it's going to be a mix between second stringers, third stringers, and fourth stringers, right? We've seen a lot of the kind of the same things, right? Not wrapping up the QB. We had so many more opportunities. We were causing pressure, right? Especially in the edge group. We were causing pressure. We just could not bring the guy down, whether it was Ellinger, whether it was Bean or Slovis. So the Colts ended up running with 3 QBs, and I promise you, there was at least 1 or 2 plays that the edge players or a defensive lineman could have brought them down, but they just could not wrap them up, right? Whether it was just them being elusive, whether it was them just kind of using their legs, it was just really annoying to see, right? The ability to wrap up these QBs when you need to, it's important. It absolutely is. Now, like I mentioned before, these guys are second, third, fourth string guys, right? We might not see them in the rotation, but if one thing that these starters can take away is that they cannot do what we saw in this game at all, right? Now, obviously, they're held to a higher standard. They know exactly what they're doing, or at least in the eyes of us. They have more practice. They have more tenure. But, man, that was a big crucial thing this game. That's they got to wrap them up. They absolutely got to wrap them up because there was just a lot of QBs running for their lives and having a lot of yards with their legs, which is very annoying. Another thing is that the run game. Their running back, I believe it was Xavier Scott. I feel like whenever he had the ball in his hand, man, this man was just making plays. And it almost kind of seemed like Cardinals weren't ready. The Cardinals weren't playing with intensity. I don't know what it was. But when he was on the field, he was running down our throats. He was 11 carries, 55 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyler Goodson, he had 6 carries, 35 yards, 1 touchdown. They average about 5 yards a carry. Like, that's what it felt like. Every one of their running backs average about 5 yards a carry. It was annoying. It was absolutely annoying. Now, if you look at the actual stats, the amount of time that they had compared to the Cardinals, they had the ball 34 minutes to our 26 minutes, right? The amount of third down efficiency, they were 7 for 12. We were 4 for 12. There's just no way the Cardinals were going to win this game. Absolutely. Everything was stacked up against the Cardinals. The penalties absolutely hurt us, right? Whether it was a holding call or a illegal touching, it almost kind of felt like every flag that was thrown, it was a Cardinal penalty, right? Now, these are things that need to be cleaned up from the Cardinals' perspective, defensively, offensively, and I'm just hoping that Jonathan Gannon really kind of brings these guys down, because in Game 3, I don't imagine the starters playing, right? Obviously, usually Game 3, you don't see starters play. You're probably going to see a lot more of these third stringers or fourth stringers come out here. So it's going to be a very interesting game in preseason, but it's the last time. It's their last time that they can come out here and show out and really come out here and say, I'm fighting for a 53-man roster spot, right? There has been some plays, at least look to me in my eyes. I'm not saying they're not putting their full effort, but I don't think they're locked in. I don't think they're actually focused on the task at hand, where they need to wrap these guys up. They need to stop the run. They need to focus on their gap, right? A couple blown coverages that happened. They ended up getting one of their wide receivers on Treadwell. I believe he was a former first-round pick as well. He was 7 receptions for 72 yards. That's crazy, right? For us, our best receiving weapon was Andre Bocelli for 2 receptions, 27 yards. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Xavier Weaver was also 2 receptions for 27 yards, if I'm not mistaken. But it just kind of goes to show that, like, man, we were not on the same wavelength at all, right? And when Desmond Ridder finally got his opportunity in his second half, he was only able to muster 3 points. That's it. 3 points, and that was in the third quarter. That was all he was able to do. In the fourth quarter, there was no points there at all. Clayton Tune was able to have this offense score 10 points, and honestly, you got to take with what you can get, right? I feel like he has been making more plays than Desmond Ridder, and I feel like the job is his. Now, whether the Cardinals decide to go a different route, that's going to be up to the Arizona Cardinals. But as of right now, between these two guys, it's going to be Tune, in my eyes, the way that I'm looking at it here. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts here? What are your biggest takeaways of this game? Now, granted, we didn't see Darius Robinson. We didn't see Marvin Harrison Jr. That probably goes to show to this coaching staff, they already believe in them. They truly believe in these guys, and they don't need to see them in preseason. It gets me excited, gets me pumped up. But what are your big takeaways in this game? Let me know here in the comments below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cards.